You're all doing okay? Today I'm creating this video to explain about some of the difficulties of using just arrays and variables and what it is that we can do to make our coding more concise and better. And that is where we are having a segue into object-oriented programming. So what you see here on the screen is a week 10 sprint 1. So this is a code I've written to show you how we can use arrays to define a cat. So this is the last chapter we did, and I just want to start from there so we can build upon as to why we need object-oriented programming. Okay. So let us say I have 3 cats and I want to get information on a 4th cat or whatever it is. Okay. So I put all my cats inside arrays. So the cat names are in the first array here. So this array has 3 cat names. This array has 3 cat IDs. Like usually when you adopt a cat or you have a license, there is a number with it. That's a unique identifier. Then I have an integer array that is holding all the cat ages. And then we have the colors. So what this means is the first cat is called Fluff. And then he is 4 years old. He's orange, and this is his ID. Okay, so same thing. So you actually have to make the connection between the objects based upon the position based upon the position of the data, right? So number 0, all the number zeros are connected. All the number 1s are connected. All the number 2s are connected. So we have 4 different arrays defining the same cat. Right? The cat's name is Fluff. It has an ID number, age is 4, color is orange, but it is split all over the place into 4 different arrays. Okay? If we don't use arrays and if we are just using for one cat, you would still need 4 variables to hold the 4 different features that define the cat. Okay? And that makes programming very clumsy, not for this particular example, but when you have complicated code to deliver a business solution. So what we are looking for is something that will all be contained in one particular blueprint. Is it possible for us to use a blueprint for a cat? Is it possible for us to use a blueprint for an employee? So we know that there are certain things that we will always need to define a cat or to define an employee or whatever it is that we want to define. So that is what we are getting at. So here's an example where I just get the 4th cat. So I just I just wanted to show you that we have to use 4 different arrays or 4 different variables to capture different aspects of the same object, same cat, right? We need 4 different storage to define one particular cat. And there is no way they are connected programmatically. We just make the connection logically in our brain. So is there an alternative to making it better? That's what we are going to look at. I'm going to switch over to my whiteboard here. So let's take the example of the cat. So I just said some of the features of the cat are going to be the name of the cat, the ID of the cat, then the color, and then we said age. All cats have this. Unless there are wild cats, then ID becomes immaterial, right? So what about tail? Do all cats have tail? What about fur? Do all cats have fur? So those are some things we want to think about when we create a blueprint. What we are trying to do is create a blueprint or a template. You can think of it as a template also. We are trying to create a blueprint, and that is why we want to think about what would all cats possess. Okay, so for example, the color of the fur. How about the eye color? Do all cats have eye colors? I believe so. Some cats do not have tail. Some cats do not have fur. But the rest of the things apply to all domestic cats, at least at this point in time, because we don't have like wild cats running around. So whatever applies to all objects of a particular template is what should go into the template. Okay, so like tail and fur, not all cats have, but even without fur there can be a color, right? So we're just gonna keep that way. So those are optional. The fur, tail and fur are optional. The rest are going to be part of every single cat definition. So this basic definition of a cat contains all these features. That define the cat. So these are features. Okay, and in the program, when we like define these features, we call them as properties. Not only features, let's think about what a cat can do. A cat is capable of, it can jump, it can eat, it can sleep, it can play. So these are some of the actions. There could be some cats that can do tricks. But because it is not applicable to all cats, it's an optional property, so we won't put it in our template. Okay, so our template is going to contain features and actions. Okay, so we are going to have, these are actions, and what we have here are going to be features. So those are the two components of object-oriented programming. Anytime we talk about any particular, subject that we want to create as a template. Okay, so that is what object-oriented programming is all about. So just think about how you can define a bike and what things a bike can do. How you can define a human and what things a human can do. How what things a car, what defines a car, what are the features of a car, and what are the actions a car can do. So always think of those two aspects. Features, you want to think about features, and then you want to think about actions. Okay, features and actions. And I will throw this for what it's worth. Take a snapshot of this and then post it in your Blackboard. Okay, so always think in terms of the features that describe your particular subject of interest, whether it's a car or a house or whatever it is that we are trying to like write code for. You also want to think about some of the actions associated with the house, like with the subject. Okay, for example, a house cannot move, but a house can be sold, a house can be bought, a house can be occupied, a house can be remodeled. Okay, so that's how you want to like think about it. So let's go back to our example. This is a much more condensed way of looking at, this is a much better way of looking at things. So let's go back to our example. I'm going to like comment out all this code because this is not how I want to write code. So I want to write it in terms of objects. So classes and objects is the topic for today. A class is a blueprint. An object is a specific instance. So a cat, if you think about the cat example, Fluff, Snowbell, and Stripey are three cats that I have here. So Fluff, Snowbell, and Stripey are the objects, but cat overall as a species is going to be our class. Okay, so class versus object, always think about it. A class is just a blueprint. It is just a template for us to use, but then you can't use it by itself. You have to actually create an object to use it. So that is the most important concept that I want you to think about. Okay, so I will like show you how to write a class for a cat. So let's go into Solution Explorer. If you take a look at what I have here, click on the week 10 sprint 1 and then say add, and then go down and say class, add class. So make sure that you are on the class and then call this as cat class. Let's call it as cat.cs. So this is going to add another file to our project called cat.cs. So we have our program.cs with this code commented out, and then we have our cat.cs. Okay. So think about it. So if we go back to our drawing board, let's look at the features first. So we said name, ID, color, age. We can ignore the eye color for now. So name, ID, color, age. So those are our, we should be able to store them. So to store them, they have to be in a variable. String name, string color, string ID, int age. So these are going to be our variables. Okay, so I want you to think about, in an adoption agency, only the or a licensing place or whatever it is where they license cats. So everyone and anyone does not get to change the ID. Anyone and everyone does not get to change the name. The color cannot be changed, and the age should not be changed, right? So these are like very private information related to the cat that no one else should be able to change, okay, other than the person that has ownership. So that is where the concept of public and private variables come into place. A public variable is accessible outside the class to anyone and everyone. A private variable is not accessible to anyone outside of this particular class. So that is where you are having access, okay? So all these 4 variables are tied inside this cat. So whenever you say, you will have to say cat's name, cat's color, cat's ID, okay? Whichever cat you are looking for, cat 1, cat 2, cat 3, you have to use the object name and then the property, okay? And we'll be looking at it a little more. So a couple other things we can also think about is a flag, bull hungry, bull sleepy. Let's define it for now. So a cat can be hungry, a cat can be sleepy. Can be many other things, but I just want to like limit it to what we want the cat to be able to do, okay? So a bool is a true or false, okay? A boolean is like a flag, it's like a switch. You can either say true or false. So I have not defined anything. I have not put any values into it because this is the template, okay? So this is just anytime I ask for a cat, I am going to get all of this with the cat. I will not get tail because I have not defined it here. I will not get the fur because I have not defined it. Everything else I have defined, I will get as part of the blueprint, okay? So that's a cat. So now think about it. You create a cat. Let's say like, so there are things called anytime. Okay, so if you want to like create an object, let's go to that one. So how do we create a cat now? So the name of the class is cat. So I would say here, cat, my cat equal to new cat with the parenthesis. So this is how we create an object. Remember, this is a class. This is an object of the class. This is a class. Okay, this is the blueprint. And this is the actual cat that we are creating. Okay, so remember that. So when we create a cat, a default constructor, a constructor is like a special method that gets called inside to say, oh my God, he wants a cat, which means I have to make sure that I set something for the age. I set something for the ID. I have to like create something that is meaningful, and then give to this person. Okay, so that is the meaning of a constructor. We have not written a constructor, so there will be a default constructor, but I just want to show you what a constructor looks like. So a constructor has the same name as the class name. So we would say public cat. That's a constructor. So anytime a cat is created, I want to set the age to 0. Okay, I want to set the name to no name yet. I want to set the color to none. I want to set the ID to not assigned. So this would tell me this cat is kind of like there's nothing in it. Okay, I want to set hungry to false. I want to set sleepy to false. Sleepy. Apparently I can't spell today. Okay, so this is a constructor where if no information is given about the cat, this is what it's like our John Doe, right? So we call them the John Doe where we have no information. So we just like say don't have, and then initialize some of the things. What if we know the information about the cat? So in that case, we are going to create another constructor. Okay, so this is and then this is going to be constructor with parameters. So let us say somebody gives us the name for the cat, somebody gives us the color, they give us the age, and then they give us the ID. So let me just put a C in the front for each and every parameter. Cat's age, cat ID, okay. So if people are giving us, so these are called as parameters. We have not done functions because I didn't think it's worth doing its own chapter because we are going to be writing it here anyway. So remember that what this means is if you give me name, I'm going to save it. If you give me color, I'm going to save it. Okay. So this is what somebody is giving to the cat to create a cat. They say create a cat called Fluff with color orange, age 4, ID is A22. If somebody says that when they create the cat, then we are going to create that cat. So here what we would do is name is equal to CName, age equal to C age. So this would give me a cat that has all the information. This would give me a cat with some default value. There is no specific information. Okay. So these two are constructors because they share the same name as the class. Okay, we have still not seen anything fun. So we are going to write an action. Let us say this cat is going to introduce himself. So there should be a way for us to know his name and everything. So let's write a method. Method number 1. Okay, a method is like a constructor except it doesn't have the same name as the class. So let us call it as public. Public means anyone can access it. Void means it doesn't return any value. Intro. So introduce yourself is all I'm saying. So this cat is going to, anytime I call upon the function or the method called intro, it is going to say, hi, my name is name. Hi, my name is name. So remember that all these can only be accessed by these methods here, and we can make sure of that by using the public versus private keywords, okay, in the front. So let's just try this. My name is this, my age is, my fur color is, and my ID is. Okay. So name, age, color, ID. So every time I say introduce, intro, I call this intro, it's going to give me all that information. So let's go here one more time. So I created a cat with nothing in it. So I'm going to say my cat dot intro. So remember, so for class, what is available outside of the class, if you put a dot, you can see. The only thing that's available is intro. Intro is the only option available for us. Okay. Notice that you cannot change the name, age, color, ID outside of the class. You can change it within this class, but you cannot change it from here. That's the cool part. So let's test this and see what happened. So I said, create a cat. I didn't say what's the name, age, nothing. And then I'm saying introduce yourself. Let's see what it says. Okay, it is coming. So let's put a breakpoint in both constructors. See which one gets hit. So it is coming to the default constructor. So it's going to set the age to 0, name, color, ID, hungry, sleepy. It never came to the second constructor because this will only happen if all the parameters are given. Otherwise, there is no parameter, it will go here. Okay. Hi, my name is no name. My age is 0. So that's the first one. Okay. So exactly how we wanted. Now let's create another cat. Let's create Fluffy now. Oh, so here instead of just saying that, okay, now let's use the, so stop here for a second. It asks you which constructor to use the second one. Okay, first, second. So you have to give name. So name is Fluff. Color is, I don't remember what I gave. 4 years old, A322, color orange. Okay, color is orange. So pause a second after you put a comma. Age is 4. ID is A332, I think, something like that. Doesn't matter. Okay, now let's make Fluffy introduce. That's the name of the object dot intro. Now let's see how that goes. So this is for the first cat. It goes to the default constructor with no parameter. Now this is for Fluff. See here, Fluff, color, age. Yeah. So this is the value we are getting, and we are going to add it to the property of the cat. So it says, hi, my name is Fluff, age is 4, orange, and ID. Okay. So again, like I said before, all the code inside cat.cs is the template. It's the blueprint. It is the class. Okay. And what we are doing from here, this is the object. Fluff is an object. My cat is an object. These are the objects. Okay. So it is taking the class called cat and making a copy, but modifying it to suit that particular instance. Okay. Okay. So you can create like more cats like this. So make sure that you name the change the name. So what do we have? Snowbell. So the what name you give here doesn't matter. You can call this as my cat 2. It doesn't matter what the name is as long as you know what you did. This is Snowbell. The color is 1-year-old white. Okay, I'm missing a semicolon here. Okay, third one, I can call it as my cat 3. Anytime you copy code, you want to make sure that you do all this properly. Ooh. Okay, what's the third cat? The third cat is stripy 6 black. And then A123, S123. Okay, so remember that this is one way of writing. This is the object-oriented way of writing. It's much more condensed. There is much more control about who can change the values, who can change the names and IDs, and who cannot. There is much more control about what functions and methods are accessible outside of the class. Okay? Here, you can't have that control. In this older way of doing things, we can't have that control. So there's a time and place for each and every technique that we are doing. So the object-oriented programming is a very nice, beautiful, condensed way of doing things. So let me talk about the features one more time. There is a term for this. To have all these properties and methods inside of the class is called as encapsulation. It's like a capsule. You have all of this inside the cat class. Okay, it is not scattered all over the place, and it is in one place, and that's the beauty of it. Okay, so this intro I did, so this method I wrote so that we can just see what cat we created. How about we write 2 more methods called play, eat, 3 more methods called public. For now, let's just stick to this, and then we will do more. Play, eat, play, and sleep. Okay. Okay, so if you call the play method, you're going to get this message. Eat method, sleep method. Okay, we created them as public. This keyword is very important. If you make them private, they won't be accessible. Okay, make the third cat eat. Put this guy to sleep. Then make this guy play. Okay, so, oh, and let me do this. Let me stop here and show you. So before we only saw intro, now we can see eat, intro, play, sleep. Okay, so those are the 4 methods that are available outside of the class. Let's run this code. I'm going to take this off because we tested this already and run it. So here it says, hi, my name is Fluff, my age is 4, I love to play, come join me. So that's the thing. Snowbell says, I'm tired. And then Stripey says, thanks for feeding me. So those particular methods were invoked. So you might be wondering what's the pretty cool thing about this? It's just, I'm just trying to start simple. And we'll be working on this in the next video a little more. So I want you to be comfortable understanding what a constructor is. A constructor initializes your methods. These guys are not showing up outside because they are by default private. Okay, they are private. So let me show you one thing. If I make this public, and then I go here, and then I say fluff dot name. See, name is showing now. We don't want that. That's why we made it private. But that keyword will change what is exposed outside of the class. So you want to keep all your properties to be private, your methods to be public. Okay? So that's the whole idea. So I hope this was helpful and this introduced you to some of the